rose-colored glasses, rose-colored lenses. You put them on and everything looks fine. So this goes right along with the elephants, right? You don't want to talk about them. People have left the church. I can see them coming back. They're coming back soon. Neighborhoods change. It's okay because everybody inside the church still looks the same. Money problems. I can see people coming in the door soon who will be compelled to be generous. Look at yesterday. Rose-colored glasses. Always look at yesterday. Those were the days. If we could only get back to that. So part of the problem with vitality is people, and we touched on it, not being willing to look realistically at their churches. They want to believe things that are not true. They don't want to admit things that they know are true, but they don't want anybody else to know, even though they probably do anyway. Okay, you'd be surprised what people figure out. We think we hide it well. And these glasses are just as destructive as the other things that enter our churches. So how do you change your lens? And I'm going to go pretty fast. So take an honest assessment of your church. Vitality has 2 tools that I highly recommend. And if you do the workshop tomorrow, I concentrate on these 2 tools. Okay, the congregational snapshot. I was hoping Zoma would get here by 5. Maybe she still will. I want you to have a copy of it. It is available online, so I can give you access that way. But it's a booklet that was developed for you to look at your congregation's history, look at the demographics, look at everything around your demographics. The Mission Insight tool is highlighted in there as well. Look at your past minutes of your board meetings or council meetings. Look 10 years of statistics of your church. You know, get to the ECC and ask them for your 10 years of statistical reports. Take the time to look at the trends that are there, and maybe you have somebody in your congregation that's their area. They like to do analysis and put them to work. So the other tool, of course, is the pH check. And I have found it's getting easier, but when we first started with the pH check, there's like this massive, thick, tall wall of resistance denomination-wide. And part of that was fear. Fear of what you'd learn, and this was right after the pandemic when things were, for many churches, at their worst. And they scored accordingly. Or there were people who did the pulse assessment, and the pastors and or leaders felt beat up, chewed up, spit out. The problem with the pulse, two big 3 problems. One, it was developed by a group of people sitting there in a group saying, what are our questions? What should we ask? Okay, there was nothing scientific about it. Okay, that the denomination, this is actually, as I came on, the denomination was willing to make a commitment to a significant financial investment to do it differently. They felt that a church health survey was critical to the health of our churches, but that it needed to be done in a more scientific way. And I could go into the whole way it came to be. Happy to do that individually, but like it took a long, long time. So that was 1. 2, it took too long. And so if you did, you had the person who was in charge of Pulse here in the Great Lakes Conference, and when she would take out a survey, it was from start to finish at least 2 months, to get results, because it was that kind of survey, okay? And what the pH check happens, you have the results, you do a 2-week window, you have the results a week later, and with full analysis and everything for you. So it's all online, it's easy. It's 15 to 20 minutes to complete. Pulse took a whole lot longer, okay? So time was different. The other one, problem with Pulse, open-ended questions. That was the killer. Okay, so every single question had a place for comments, and then there were open-ended questions at the end. And so what did people do? Well, it was anonymous.
Yeah, so you can
They could
complain.
say anything they
absolutely.
wanted, and they took the opportunity way too much of the time to shred the pastor,
Yeah.
which then became public.
Right.
And pastors quit, pastors were fired. And so that created, people were like, I'm not doing any vitality questionnaire, that ain't happening. Well, the team early on committed to the fact that there would be absolutely no open-ended questions. It doesn't exist. I get emails probably once every 6 months, somebody from a congregation will write to me and complain about that. And my answer is always, well, I'm glad that you have thoughts. I would really suggest you set up a meeting with your pastor. Of course, they never do.
Right.
Right? Because they just wanted the chance. It's not people that want to say good things that complain to me. Okay, is where it goes. And so that is safe now. And not a single question on the entire church health survey addresses the pastor, except for one. And that is the pastor getting rest? Lowest scoring category, across the board. Every whole denomination, lowest scoring is pastor's rest or leader's rest. Okay? So know that if you haven't done the pH check and you're considering it, it's safe. Okay, but people are afraid to get scores that they go, oh my gosh, I'm failing. No, you're not. Whose responsibility is it? The church's responsibility. Remember the meaning of membership. These are people who are supposed to be doing it together. So if you don't look through clear lenses at what's going on in your church, it's going to be faulty at best, what you're trying to do. So really, really, really encourage that. Second thing, I don't say hire, but hopefully you don't have to pay them. Church shoppers. Somebody to come to your church by themselves, that's critical. First time visitor. And then you figure out what you want them to find out for you. Okay, I give you some suggestions here, you'll have this. Okay, but what do they see? And even though you're not to be consumeristic, it matters what you see because it reflects what's going on in the hearts of your people. This very strongly comes out of, first of all, Peg and I have had the conversation now 2 or 3 years. She's so impatient with me, I'm sure. She wants a hospitality resource, and the problem is it's so deep and complicated that I haven't been able to simplify it down to something that, and will people show up and will it make a difference, that kind of thing. But I was in the position, I moved back to Portland 2 years ago, and I went church shopping. It was all covenant churches. It was the most horrible experience I've had in years. I was horrified by what I found. And I went to churches that, and you should ask your own congregations, are we a friendly church? Guaranteed they're going to say yes.
Yeah, of course we are. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I can tell you that out of 5 covenant churches I visited in Portland, 1 was truly welcoming. The rest of them, I would never return to. Okay? I have to because I'm working with them. But you know what I'm saying? It's horrible, the lack of depth of understanding of what it means to be welcoming people. And one of the things, take this with you, that I have been told that I think is critical to this. Have your people understand that they're not there to be members, okay? They're there to be hosts. Think about that difference in the outlook, just right there, that one word. My responsibility, and I put it in my membership materials, come to think of it, my commitment is to be a host. That means every single person, whether they're new or not, who comes in the door, I'm hosting. What do you do when somebody comes to your home, right? How do you host them? And that's where hospitality, so that's what I'm working on, Peg, right there, but that whole idea. But these church shoppers are gonna give you important information. Hopefully they're not like the ones in the video I tried to show you, but yeah, hopefully they're not that shallow. but they're gonna give you an impression that is really, really helpful. Okay, so those changing lenses that way is really, really good. I'll skip the scripture, I hate to skip. There are two scriptures that are really good about talking about seeing clearly. So again, you'll have these. A few more things, because I want to make sure I give you all these tools. So, resistance predictor. And you're not going to have time to figure this out, but I want to show it to you. Okay, so how resistant your congregation is to change. All right, you're looking at, I couldn't get this in a good graph, but just think, one column is those older than you, this is age-wise, and this is to the pastor. Those older than you, those younger than you. I would submit to you church chairs, this would apply as well. On the left side, those who were there at the church before you came, and those who have come to the church since you came, okay? So this, and I'm gonna show you how this works. So in a high resistant church, you've got 50% of the people are both older in age than you and were there before you. Okay, your percentages are gonna be really high. Okay, those younger than you, 20% or less. Okay, those that were and were there before you. Those older than you that came after you, only 20% are resistant. See, so it's not just the age. Those younger than you and who came after you, 10%. Okay, but much less, because they came because of you, probably. Okay, mid-resistant is even. Okay. Low resistance, you can see it.
It's diverse.
And so, when you're looking at whatever changes God is asking you to make, to say, how resistant is your congregation likely to be? And so if it's going to be high resistance, then you're going to have to strategize much more deeply. It's much easier. If they're not resistant, they'll follow your lead. Okay, and you don't have to do a massive project. But if they're fall into the high resistance, then you're going to have to set the table differently. Not that it can't be done, but they're highly resistant. Okay, so I want you to know about that model. And both of these come from Sam Rayner. The book is Revitalization Handbook. You don't need the book, but these two things are really good. So the capacity formula, you're asking how many people are active in your church? And look at this definition.
Once a month.
That's Sam's definition, okay? So you could make yours higher, but then it's gonna skew this, all right? And then how many supportive leaders in your church? Okay, there's the definition. Right? How many malcontents are in your church? I hope not too many, but they're there, perhaps. The capacity formula, supporters minus malcontents. Then you take those first, and then divide it by the active people. Okay? So these things are capacity for change and capacity for ministry as well. All right, so again, I encourage you, I have it in here to do it here, but we don't have time. Take the time and figure these things out, because these are barriers. And we do so much better if we know what we're up against, right? We come with the power of the living God, but boy, being informed is sure helpful, to be sure. All right, so there's the question. And again, when you get this is homework, if you will. Okay? Now make a plan. So this is the plan I would encourage you to make with your leaders. You can share this presentation with them. Skip whatever you want. But then first, take 5 minutes with your leaders to pray and ask God to show you who should participate in a prayer team. A real prayer team. Committed to praying for the church, and actually write down their names. Also come up with who's going to invite them. What is this going to look like? that would be number one priority for me, is the prayer team. Then, the booklet you're gonna get, look at the areas of gathering information. So like I said, there's history. There are people that have been in a church a long time who feel like they don't get to do anything. And maybe they're too tired to do anything, but boy, you get them talking about the good old days. And seriously, and they can tell you so many things, and put them in charge of the history part, because there are questions they're gonna go after. And let them have that contribution and be part of what you're doing. You're saying, we are putting on clear lenses to look at our church to see where God is leading us in our why, or if you don't have one, right? So a snapshot team is one of there are 5 different areas is the snapshot. Okay, so and really you need only 4 teams, and their teams are 3 people. You know, you do it whatever you want, but you don't need a lot of people to do it. Okay, PH check, do it, please. Please, it's super important. This information, and Peg can vouch for this, is critical. When you get those scores, you get links to resources in the ECC, not just Vitality, that can help strengthen any area that you want to strengthen. You also get this consultation, which she gives you next steps, all of that. And by the way, I hope your people are all doing this. You get coaching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
Coach her.
So you get coaching, and it's team coaching. You come into the PH check, you get 6 sessions of coaching provided by us. 3 can be for the pastor and 3 for your leaders, or it can be all for the pastor, depending on what you think is best for you. And again, it's included. Elephants, identify the elephants that have been avoided. Choose 1 or 2 to tackle, make a plan, and include a timeline. And who's gonna make you accountable? That's critical. There's something I hated in education that was late in my career, but it's so true, is SMART goals. Okay, so if you don't know about SMART goals, I'm not gonna tell you, because I really hate them. But it is measurable and, you know, time bound. That's what each letter stands for, something. And those things are important. So make it happen. Right? Cows, identify 1 to 3 cows. Make a plan to barbecue. Identify who will be part of the solution. Right? Don't do it alone. And then self-care. Pastor's rest is the lowest scoring area of the PH check. You that are chairs, make it your business to hold your pastor accountable, right? Make a Sabbath plan. If you're not doing a 24-hour Sabbath, and most of us don't pull it off, you gotta remember that's a commandment, right? And there are strategies for that. The Trellis Workshop helps you with that. I'm happy to, that one, again, resources, that's a day-long workshop. Emotionally healthy relationships, you use this piece, Cazzaro's materials, and then healthy church culture. So you want to get rid of that toxic culture. It's there, and it includes self-care, connecting to the vine, the trellis. Plan for margin. Do you have back-to-back meetings, or do you have 10 minutes to pray in between? Okay, those sorts of things. I'll plan for a retreat. Okay, and then good health plan, physical. Any questions or comments? Whew. That was fire hose at the end.